All right, welcome back to the Listing Agent Show. And you probably notice Ren Jones is not with me today. I've got my man Davis from Vulcan 7 to help us with some feature training, if you will, inside the Vulcan 7 platform. So Davis, welcome to your first episode on the show.
Hey, excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, me too. So let me just tee this up, Davis, for everybody that's watching. What you guys can expect from this show moving forward is Ren and I will be working on tactics and strategies, skills from that perspective on how to grow a listing-based business. And then when Davis and I do a show, we'll be talking about the features inside the Vulcan 7 platform so that all of you that are watching the show can go in and get the best, really, uses from the platform so you can have the best success. So today, we're going to talk about something I think Davis agents really struggle with, which is like how to keep organized with all of the leads coming into their system. So before we jump into that, you guys, as always, the show is sponsored by Vulcan 7, which is the best listing lead generation platform in real estate. So to get started, we'll put a link right in the description, right underneath this video. There'll be a link for you guys to go ahead and get started. So before you share your screen, Davis, or anything like that, I'm sure you guys in your technology meetings talk about like just different use cases, and you guys have come up with the folder system, but can you add some context around maybe some of the conversations or feedback you've gotten from agents on just keeping organized inside of their platforms, generally speaking?
Yeah. I mean, organization is key. It's so important. If you're not organized and you're spending time trying to figure out who you need to call or reach out to, or it's not efficient, it's not effective, and you're wasting time.
Big time.
Feedback from users is so important. We look at it monthly. What feedback that we're having. We try to create things as simple as possible. If it's not simple, then it's you're spending time doing something that we don't want you to be doing. So
yeah. And I would add to that. I mean, I think that's probably one of the things I love most about Vulcan 7. We say it all the time, simplicity is genius. Oh. And I think a lot of your competitors make things very complicated, overwhelming. And if you're not a tech person, you get a case of and you just don't even want to mess with it. You don't even log in. So that's what I like about Vulcan 7. So yeah, I want to talk about specifically today the use of folders inside the Vulcan 7 platform. Okay, yeah. And how the user can use these to stay organized. So if you want to share your screen and we can kind of jump into some details and walk the users through this would be really, really good.
Yeah.
So
you see that work?
Yes, perfect. And we've got the new reverseselling.com platform, everybody. So that is phenomenal. So cool to see.
It looks great. And if any of you don't have this, you just in the little chat bubble at the right, just shoot us a message that you want this dashboard, and we're happy to turn it on for you. Just let us know.
I love it. I love it. All right. So before we get into kind of like the how-to, let me just tee this up and explain to you guys kind of where we're at. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and hit contacts for us, get into our folders. So what happens every day, if you guys are maybe newer to the Vulcan 7 platform, every morning, Vulcan 7 automatically will put in your new for sale by owners, your new expired listing, all of your off-market leads. Those will automatically come into the system. So is this like a test account, Davis?
Yep. Yeah, just a test account. Yep.
All right. So off-market folder, which should seem very familiar to everybody. This is where all of your expireds and withdrawals come in every morning from Vulcan 7 automatically. So all of your leads are going to come into here, just like the same way they do with your FSBO folder and your for rent by owner folder. The problem is as you get going, more and more leads start to come into this thing every morning. They start to stack up unless they do something with them, Davis. Is that right?
Exactly. Yep.
So what we recommend with all of our agents in our coaching program is that we have like a follow-up folder system. And the way in which we recommend is for them to do a couple things. So the first folder that we recommend that they have, Davis, is leads not yet contacted. So if you could just make a folder so everyone can see how to do this, that would be great.
Cool. So I'm just going to hit this little settings gear here and go to manage folders.
And it always goes slow on Zoom. So
Yeah, it always does here.
yeah.
This account has this has been here for 10 years. We have a million folders in here as well. That doesn't help. But to add a new folder, it's real simple. You just click add folder here at the upper right and give it a name. What was the name?
Leads not contacted. And while Davis is doing that, the use case, you guys, for this folder is the vast majority. I mean, we're talking, most people are have probably between a 10 and 20% contact ratio, which means that 80 to 90% of the leads that come into your system, you haven't yet contacted. Davis, we call this the black hole. This is where most agents are losing the most opportunity. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So are you guys tracking contact rates on your side at all? I'm just curious.
No, no. We're working on actually, this is a little hint. We have a feature coming out that can kind of help with that in the future, but
awesome.
But yeah.
So the thing is, you guys, as you're watching this is, so as you have new leads that come into the system, and let's just talk about for sale by owners as an example. So let's just pretend you get 3 or 4 or 5 for sale by owners per day. All of the leads that you don't yet get in touch with as you're in a dial session. I'm wondering if we can show this. Can you show a dial session without starting an actual dial session in this account?
Yeah, I can start one. Yep.
Yeah. So I want to show them what to do with this, because inside the actual dial session, you guys, you don't have to keep going in and out of folders. You can select the folder right in the dial session. And I want to show them that, Davis, because I think so many Vulcan 7 users are missing this, and they feel like they've got to mark the lead, stop the dial session, go back and update the lead. You can do it on the fly.
Yep.
So watch how this works. So when we get into a dial session, which is Davis is going to start for us.
Give me one sec here.
No problem. There we go. So here we got our lead. And so if we pause, yeah, beautiful. So here's what happens. Let's pretend we reach out to this lead and they don't answer. Well, we know that we don't want to lose this opportunity and let it fall through the cracks. This lead needs to go into our non-contacted folder. So can you show them the drop down and where to put that? There we go.
Yep, just this drop down, click leads not contacted. And then when I click next contact or whatever my call outcome down here, it's going to move it to that folder
automatically.
For me. Yep. Yeah.
And you don't have to stop your dial session or nothing, correct?
Correct. Yep.
That's amazing.
Move right on.
So for everybody watching the show, this is a huge pro tip. You can keep your efficiency very, very high, keep everything organized. Now, once you go through all of your new fresh for sale by owners for the day, this folder, your new FSBO lead folder, should be empty. Because if you contacted them, the next folder I just want to make, just as an example, let's kind of make all the folders that I recommend, Davis.
Yeah.
The next folder I recommend that you make is a hot leads folder. It's very simple, hot leads. And any prospect that you talk to that you have the potential to set an appointment with, or that you set an appointment with, are going to go into that folder. The next folder we're going to set is what we call warm leads. And how we define warm leads, you guys, is, which most for sale by owners are people that are open to meeting with you, 30, 45, 60, 90 days from now. They're all going to go in that folder. And then the last folder I recommend is a seller nurture. So these are all the sellers that say, yeah, we want to sell, but we're not looking to do anything until after the holidays or until spring or until next summer. Well, we've got to organize those somehow, and folders is how we do that. So as you're prospecting, your new FSBO folder, the way you know that if you're staying organized or not is it should be empty. If you're starting to call for sale by owners at 8:15 or 8:30 in the morning, after you go through them, it should be absolutely empty. And the reason for that is every single time you hang up that dial, there needs to be a disposition. And so can you go back into the dial session real quick and we can look at that now?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So anytime we do this, so if we go to the next lead, if you want to do that, if we could, these are all fake, right?
Yeah, this is just fake. Yeah.
All right, cool. We're starting calling leads. It'd be great.
Calling real people.
That'd be awesome. So now if we drop down in the folder section, you can see the folders that Davis and I just made. Every time that phone hangs up, we have to ask ourselves, okay, what happened? Did I not talk to them? Okay, cool. We just talked about what to do with those. Was this a hot lead? It's going to go in the hot leads folder. Is it a warm lead? It goes in that folder. The point is you're doing this in real time so that you're staying organized. Davis, you want to add any other thoughts or opinions on this type of behavior from a user perspective?
I mean, doing it while you're in the dial session is just so much more efficient because we find new users are going back and they're finding the contacts and they're moving them. It's too time consuming. You have more important things you need to do. You can also, and maybe we can tee this up for next, the next show. Sure. When we talk about call outcomes, because you can also, with these call outcomes, you can set automation to happen, right? So you can say, every time I click this custom call outcome I created, it'll move to this folder for me, right? You could set things like that up as well.
That's phenomenal. So like, these are things that like, I'm probably going to learn in these sessions too. So with the automation, can we set it up where it moves into a folder and sends an email out per se?
Of course. Yep. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Wow. All right. So let's do that. Can you show us how to set an automation up?
Yeah. So I'm just going to go at the upper right. I'll go to my account here. And then let me move you out of the way here. We're going to go to dialer settings. And then we're going to go to call outcomes. And again, we can dive in a little bit deeper here, but you have two sets here. The dialing set is associated with people not answering, and your live answer set is associated with people answering, right? So you'll notice when someone answers, the buttons change right at the bottom of the dial session. So if I go in and edit one of these call outcomes, you can control, what the button's going to do. There by default, there's a delete number here. I have the option, I can edit this, make a new one. I can make it so every time I click this call outcome, this specific, test email gets sent out. This one-touch email, right? I can say, oh, and also I want you to move it to, my hot leads folder, whatever you're choosing. And then you can also control the next action. So is it going to call the next number, or is it going to call the next contact? So you have a lot of control what you can do when you're setting up these call outcomes. Man, that's phenomenal.
So, all of everything that these are all of our options, right? There's nothing else that you think we're missing from an automation standpoint?
No, we have a new one. We have a new option that'll be here soon that we're releasing, but beyond that, this is what the options are. Yeah.
All right. And that is the one we were talking about off air, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So why don't we just kind of tease the audience a little bit, get them excited for maybe what's to come. And then our next show in January, when you and I do this after the holidays, we can unpack that new feature set.
Cool. So how that feature will work is, I can't demo it right now, but I have a little video here I can show. In the dial session, all users are going to see, let me back up a little bit. There's this new follow-up button here, and you'll notice there's a little calendar next to it. So while you're talking to them, you can key up this little calendar. You can just choose this calendar here, and you can choose when you want to follow up with them. And you can find these contacts in the advanced search. You can say everyone who I have a follow-up date of this, and you can group them and call them all together in one go. But this is a new follow-up. This is a new call outcome type button that you can create, right? I mentioned before you can create, you have the option of automation of setting up an email to go out when you click the button, or it'll move it for you. So now you can create a new button associated with like a calendar follow-up option.
That's phenomenal. So let me ask you this. So, I mean, this is so cool. I'm learning stuff in real time too. So one of the things that I coach all the agents in our coaching program to do is all of the for sale by owners that fall into that warm lead category. We want to call all of those people every Monday. So is there a way with this feature that they can all just go in that same folder?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. While you're talking to the contact, this is the next time I need to follow up with them. You choose the Monday date, and then you can create, and I don't know how deep we want to dive into this, but you can create advanced searches right? Or filters where you just pull up, okay, this is Monday's calls I need to make, and they're in a list in front of you, bang 10 out or however many you need to do really quickly.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we'll do in the next show, is show them how to do that, what you just said.
Yeah.
So once they do the advanced search, they say, okay, who am I supposed to call today based on all the follow-ups I reminded myself to do over the past week or two? Then those get loaded up into the dialer as a dial session. Is that right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right. What other features do you think are important, at least from the standpoint of lead organization or staying organized, do you think are worth mentioning?
I mean, it just maybe some simple things. If I go to managing your folders, obviously you have the option of creating like subfolders. So you'll notice, I'll open this in a new tab here. Sure. But you can simply move these around to whatever order that you want. A lot of users, especially new users, if I jump over here, you don't realize you have subfolders, right? You have, hot buyers, some of these are system folders, but some users, they lost a folder. It could be just like a subfolder. So
got it.
Like that.
So you could get really granular and to say, okay, here's my FSBO folder per se. Here's my hot ones. You can really break them down even more for like the analyticals that like to get really super granular here. You could do that with subfolders, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you have many, like, what do you recommend for teams? Do you have many teams you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, so everybody has their own folder inside the account. That's exactly right.
Cool.
Show us how to create this subfolder real quick.
So if I jump back over to managing folders, it's real simple. You just click here to reorder.
Okay.
And then you just drag it wherever you want. And then if you kind of indent it, then it creates a little subfolder there.
So you create a new folder and then you have to drag it into sub like that?
Yeah. You pull it over and it kind of stays there and saves.
Got it. Okay. Is there any rule that you can create? Going back to kind of automations for just 1 second. Is there a rule that a user could set up with Vulcan 7 to say, hey, every time I get a FSBO with this price range, put it in this folder? Can we set up automations that come right from Vulcan 7 to go into different folders?
No, everything like in terms of off market or FSBO is just going to go into that specific off market and FSBO folder. If you're going to move it, you'll have to, do an advanced search and, by price point or whatever you want to do, and then you can move them from there. But you can't set up rules to move them.
Got it. Okay. So that's what they're called, rules. You're right. So it's kind of like an email inbox. Have you guys talked about that for future releases at all?
The idea always kind of comes up. We do have like a roundabout way that you can do it is with saved searches. You can create, like I see a lot of agents that they'll, there's this price point or there's this area they really want to focus on. And so they'll create a saved search within that price point in that area, and they can quickly come here and reference and click on that search. This is not where they're stored, but this locates those contacts for them, and then they can quickly do a dial session from there.
So let's look at that use case for a second. The area is probably the most important. So for most people, I want them getting like as many leads into the system as possible. So I want them to come in from 1, 2, 3 counties potentially. So let's just say I want to really be notified, or I want to be able to say, if a FSBO comes into my system in this city, like I need to really be focused on that. So tell me, how can I do that with the Save Search?
So I'll click here. Sorry if I did that too fast. You have a search up here, your normal search, and then you have advanced search here. You have a lot of options here. In this particular scenario, what we would do is we'd filter it down. We could do it a couple ways. We could do it by, we probably don't want to do it by folder. We want to do it by city, right? So
correct.
So
just as an example, yeah.
Yeah, let's say, I don't know, I'm saying, Las Vegas or something like that.
Perfect. Yep.
And then for the source, I'll go down to management information, lead source. I'd put FSBO in here. This will indicate like if it's the source is like expired, canceled, FSBO, that type of thing.
Yep.
And then I probably won't choose any of that. And then you want to, so this is a brand new, you want it to be a brand new contact, right?
Correct.
There's a new contact flag. Let me try to, but there's a new flag in here. I'm not having a hard time finding it. So I would set that new flag, and then I would say, you know, this is my new brand in search, give it a name, and click search here. I'm probably not going to pull up any results here, but I do have my new brand in save search right here.
So when you do that, it will pull up all of the new people that fit that criteria is essentially what it's doing.
Exactly. Yep. Everything within that criteria is going to pull up. I don't have to redefine all those rules and filters that I just implied. I can just come here and click the search, and it'll pull up everything for me. But one thing I do want to keep in mind is this is not where they're stored. We have a lot of users confused at, you know, I pulled a search. Where are they stored? You just pulled from all these folders listed here, right? Like
right.
The search that you just created. So
got it. So once we save that saved search per se, I can then just go click on it just like you did. I don't have to keep doing that every day.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
All right. So that is the workaround right there.
Yeah.
So that's a really good use case too, from an organization standpoint, you guys, is like, just like Davis and I were talking about, if there's a certain price point or area and you got a whole bunch of leads in your system, do an advanced saved search, and you can whittle your entire lead database down to the ones you want to focus on. And then they all pop in there, you hit all, and you can create a dial session right in there.
Brandon, what do you recommend? Like how many attempts do they, attempt to reach out to them before you put them aside or give up on them?
At least minimum 8. So that's a whole nother thing too, is like, we've also messed around with organizing leads, Davis, by contact attempt, right?
Yeah.
So you got FSBO contact attempt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and beyond, in a folder system, so that, okay, from a priority standpoint, I got all these leads. Where do I prioritize my time? I'm going to always prioritize the newest ones at the top of my priority chart. That's a really good thing you just brought up.
Yeah. And that makes sense. Like when it's newer, you need to jump on them, right?
Exactly.
That's the go time. Yeah.
So I'm wondering too, is there anything you can think from what you know about the system, which is much more than I know, that might be an easier or not easier, just a different way than I just outlined from a attempt perspective? Or we would kind of use the same functionality we just talked about, folders or save search?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, those are the two main things. I do see agents. I don't want to divert from what you recommend. I do see them that they'll create call folders, like attempts 1 through 5 or 1 through 8, like what you just mentioned. So, the people who I called today in my call, 2 folder would get moved to call 3. So
exactly,
kind of moving it down, that whole idea. That's probably the most popular one I see. It'll be interesting how it changes with the new follow-up feature that we talked about earlier. It'll be how that's adopted and how that changes folder structure.
Yeah.
The other thing you could also do, going back to the advanced search, is within the dialer, you could create a safe search based off of how many times you've contacted or attempted to call them, right? So you could do the same thing what we just did in the brand and save search example, right? You could say, create a save search for everyone that I've attempted within this criteria 1 time or 2 times, right?
Yeah. That's
do that as well.
That's great. And there's right now in the call dispositions, is there anything in there that you can put in relation to the attempts?
Attempts.
So could you create a custom field in dispositions to say you can disposition the calls like attempt 1, attempt 2, attempt 3, then create a rule or an automation around that?
Yep, exactly. And then attempt 2 goes to folder 2, right?
That's right.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow, that's phenomenal too. So there you go, guys. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways for you to stay organized. And here's the greatest part. Like, Davis and I are just giving you ideas or conceptual things to consider. If you really need help plugging in this, that, or the other thing, you could just call Vulcan 7 support, right, Davis?
Yeah.
And they can walk them through it.
Yep. Reach out to us. We're the fastest if you reach out to us with this little bubble, this chat bubble here. But I know there's people who prefer to talk, and we're here. We answer the phone fairly quickly. So
yeah,
we're here to help.
It's the best. So
and that's the thing. Like I see a lot of users, you jump in. We make Vulcan 7 as simple as possible, but you got to take some steps to set some things up. The nice thing though is like all these things we've talked about, organizing, setting up folder structure and save searches. It might feel like it's daunting. We're here to help. It's simple, but once it's created and set up, you're hitting the ground running. When you come in tomorrow, you don't need to think about who did I call yesterday? Who do I need to call today? It should be structured and set up for you so you can hit the ground running.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And yeah, when you get started with Vulcan 7, spend an afternoon, invest the time up front, do it once, and then all the stress and anxiety of the new technology platform, like goes away. Be proactive and take action and put in the work that we're talking about in today's episode. So Davis, I appreciate you jumping on with me, my friend. I wish you and your family a very, very happy holiday season. Happy New Year. Our next episode, I want to talk about the new follow-up feature in Vulcan 7. We'll give the audience a cool demo of how that feature works. And until next time, stay safe. You guys hopefully got a lot of value from the show. If there's a feature that you want Davis and I to cover in the future, make sure you use the comments section right beneath this video. And then Davis and I can go back and look at those comments to see, okay, what feature set do you want more training on? And then we can make an episode based on that feature. So again, we appreciate all you guys supporting the show. Davis, thank you so much, my friend. And I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.